May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessing be upon you. Do you know to whom you owe your freedom, dignity, and healthy living long before the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Do you know who abolished slavery and servitude, and who made dignity and consideration prevail? Do you know who, on order of his Supreme Lord, frees spirits from superstition, worshipping idols, and alienation to false gods and irrational beliefs, and who lifts up the hearts beyond passion and pleasures? Do you know who purifies bodies, public and private living areas by introducing an individual health practice and a public sanitary policy? We really and indeed experienced this during the current pandemic. Do you know who founded first the tolerance pillars, stipulated that there is no compulsion in religion, and protected non-Muslims' lives, properties, and families? In the Islamic world, Jews and Christians lived and still worthy life in mutual respect and regard with their Muslim co-citizens, whereas in the Inquisition era, Muslims were persecuted and there weren't even ethnic cleansing, or either during the colonization period when pillaging, sequestration, and killings were the rule. The same thing in Bosnia-Herzegovina, in Palestine, in Burma, and in many other countries throughout the world. Are you aware that He is mercy to the creation in spite of the differences in beliefs and races? From His teachings flows out clemency towards animals, plants, and other creatures, sparing them any inconvenience. As you certainly know, this great man also defends human rights for men and women, youngsters and elderly, regardless of social status or living standard. He establishes a number of supreme principles in the field of human rights. Indeed, during his speech in the farewell pilgrimage, which took place 3 months before his death, he formally condemns and prohibits the assault on lives, properties, and families of any human being. And this long before the world knew the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Do you know that this severe completely ended the female infanticide, enables women to have control over their own bodies in full decency, and of their property in entire legitimacy? He offers them the opportunity to get educated, to have heritage and not to be passed on as heritage, to choose their husbands. He settles parity of status between men and women in an era where such achievements were unthinkable. Are you aware that this great man emphasizes the virtuous behavior in the life of all humans? He preaches, in words and deeds, the honorable behavior and advocates it as honesty, loyalty, decency, and indulgence. He calls to the strengthening of social links and family ties and personifies them in real life. He bans the reprehensible behavior, moves away from it, and strongly misadvises to get close to lies, treachery, envy, and hypocrisy. He urges an optimal use of mind and for knowledge acquisition and universe discovery, and regards it as a rewarded act. Whereas in the other civilizations, men of science and scholars were suffering from exactions, were accused of heresy, and terrorized by imprisonment, tortures, and assassination. Do you know that the message this very exceptional man brought is consistent with the innate human nature, where requirements of the spirit and demands of the body are respected, a message which balances the life between this world and the hereafter, a message which educates instincts and impulses of the believer, allowing him not to repress or to negate them, as it was the case in other civilizations. These latter exaggerate in idealism, contrary to the human nature, and deny to the persons who may wish to have an ascetic and devoted life their innate rights, as the right to marriage or the right to self-defense. This great man provides a humankind perfect model and asserts that there is no preference between ethnicities and races. All are equal in the origin of creation and in rights and obligations. Differentiation is based on piety. Only pious believers are better in the sight of Allah. Thus, his companions have equal opportunities to serve and belong to the community. We found Sahar the Roman, Bilal the Abyssinian, and Salman the Persian, side by side with their Arab brothers. This person of noble character has the greatest number of followers that ever existed on earth, not in the virtual world, but in the real world. How couldn't we love him, cherish him? How couldn't we highly respect him and aspire to be in his company in paradise? Furthermore, the great thinkers and intellectuals in history have indeed celebrated and glorified his person. As you might have guessed, he is the greatest man in the history, the savior of humanity, the messenger of mercy, Muhammad. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. Thank you for watching and for sharing.